Hey everyone, I am in the Amish country of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I'm about to do another travel video, and this basically has nothing to do with it. I'm about to hop in my car and drive to New York City. Gonna see a New York Yankees game tomorrow. My first time ever at Yankee Stadium. Old Yankee Stadium, current Yankee Stadium, it doesn't matter. My first time ever at a Yankee Stadium. So I am really excited about that. Gonna do a little bit of a road trip video as I am driving to Maryland to pick up my mother. And then we're gonna be heading to New York City, staying tonight in the Bronx. And I'll have more details about everything we're gonna be doing as the video continues. Like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you have fun. Just catching a little bit of history on my way down to Maryland. This is the birthplace of Robert Fulton, inventor of the steam engine. So I don't have really a lot of time to stop. The museum is actually open right now, but I'm just trying to hit the road, trying to get to our hotel tonight at a decent time. So I'm gonna keep on moving. So after we enjoyed the hotel's continental breakfast, we didn't have as much time as we thought we were going to have to spend in the city. So we decided to go into Manhattan. It would just take one simple subway line to go to Fifth Avenue and visit St. Patrick's Cathedral. I knew that my mom would like to see that, and I always love going to St. Patrick's for all of the history. And as we were walking, we passed 52nd Street. The main reason for this trip was the Yankees were giving away Billy Joel bobblehead dolls at the game. So my mother, a big Billy Joel fan, and she made me a big Billy Joel fan. So we wanted to get that bobblehead doll. And as we were walking to St. Patrick's Cathedral, we passed 52nd Street, which of course any Billy Joel fan will know is a very famous Billy Joel album, so that was cool. And then just getting to walk around St. Patrick's Cathedral, all of the ambiance, all of the history, it is just, you know, I use the word awe-inspiring a lot, but that is definitely something that happens when you are standing in front of St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City, in Manhattan. You are just struck by this sense of awe. If you look up at the altar and to the left of the screen, you will see the place where Senator Ted Kennedy stood and gave his eulogy for his brother, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, in 1968. That is where he had the famous quote, "You see things and say why, but I dream things that never were, and I say why not." He actually paraphrased that a little bit, but it's a George Bernard Shaw quote. And that was the first time that people really started talking about Ted Kennedy as a legitimate candidate for the presidency. And I am very fascinated in his eventual run for the presidency, and I'm going to do a video about that at some point on another YouTube channel. But anytime you can see a piece of history like that in the modern day, it really takes you back to a different time. So it is much easier to see this statue at night when they have closed St. Patrick's Cathedral for the day, because it is actually a part of the front door to the cathedral. But this statue is of Saint Kateri Tekakwitha. She is the first Native American saint, the Lily of the Mohawks. And because she is American, they try to pay tribute to her here at St. Patrick's Cathedral. I am on 5th Avenue in Manhattan. Right across the street from me is St. Patrick's Cathedral, where on August 19th, 1948, Cardinal Francis Spellman presided over the funeral of George Herman Ruth. 25,000 people in attendance inside the cathedral, an estimated 75,000 people outside. And then later Ruth would be buried at the Gates of Heaven Cemetery in upstate New York. And right outside of Central Park, if you're entering from the southeast, is this amazing statue of William Tecumseh Sherman, American Civil War hero, and apparently New Yorker. I am across the street from the new Yankee Stadium, and this field right here, this infield that's in a park right across the street, is the location of the old Yankee Stadium. This was the infield at the original Yankee Stadium. We are roughly right behind home plate, where on April 18th of 1923, Babe Ruth christened Yankee Stadium as the house that Ruth built with a towering home run. You'll see down in center field they have the phrase, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes it rains. That is from the great movie Bull Durham. And the field off in the distance to the right is called Luckiest Man Field, named after the speech by the great Lou Gehrig. He said he felt like the luckiest man in the world, even though he was dying of ALS. And all of that happened right here on this patch of grass. Out past what would have been center field in the old Yankee Stadium, which is right behind home plate at this softball field here in the new park, is the old facade from Yankee Stadium, paying tribute to the classics. There is a great story why the old Yankee Stadium went in this location, and it has to do with a team that no longer plays in New York. The New York Giants used to own the Polo Grounds right across the Harlem River from where New Yankee Stadium stands today. And the Polo Grounds would rent out the stadium. The National League New York Giants would rent out the stadium to the New York Yankees. Well, that worked fine until a fella named Babe Ruth was sold to the Yankees. And all of a sudden, the Giants hated playing second fiddle to their counterparts from the junior circuit who were selling out games at their stadiums. So they said, nope, not allowed to rent out the Polo Grounds anymore. We have this prime real estate on Manhattan Island, and we don't think the Yankees are going to be able to build on Manhattan Island. And they were right. So what they did was the Yankees built the house that Ruth built right across the Harlem River in the Bronx so that you could see Yankee Stadium from the Polo Grounds. What an ultimate, just embarrassing move that the Giants lost all that rent money from the Yankees playing there, but then they went on to become the most historic franchise in history with, up until now, the greatest player in baseball history. Hey everyone, so the New York Yankees have a very strange rule in place, and that is if you film anything inside their stadium, inside New Yankee Stadium, they claim rights over the entire video. So if I were to put a little clip of me, for example, eating something inside New Yankee Stadium or visiting the museum at New Yankee Stadium, then the Yankees could just bombard this video with YouTube ads, and I don't really want to do that to you. I want this video to be successful, so I don't want it to be overrun with ads. So what I thought I would do is I'm gonna end the video in a little different way than normal, where I kind of talk about some of my opinions on new Yankee Stadium. And I'm not afraid to admit I was actually disappointed. I thought I was going to get that overwhelming feeling of awe and grandeur like the first time I walked into Fenway Park. I know when I first walked into Fenway Park I was a kid, so maybe I shouldn't have expected that, but I was a teenager when I first walked into Dodger Stadium. I was in my 30s when I went again to Dodger Stadium for the first time as an adult. Both of those times, awe-inspiring experiences. When I went to Wrigley Field for the first time, it was an awe-inspiring experience. And the new Yankee Stadium to me just felt corporate and sterile. But then some of the things that you would expect from a stadium that was built in 2009 would be, okay, well maybe it's not going to have that nostalgia feel that you would have gotten in the old Yankee Stadium, but at least we're going to have modern amenities and it's going to be really accessible. This is New York City. You think of big government when you think of New York City. You think of having things have to be really accessible for people with disabilities. Well, my mother was dealing with a bad knee on our trip and we barely made it. I mean, we left probably about the 7th inning, I think, because she just couldn't do it anymore. The accessibility in the stadium just wasn't accommodating for us to get to our seats, for us to just get up to, I forget if it was the 300 or 400 level was the highest level there, but I understand we got affordable tickets, but still, those things should be accessible. They are at other venues like Oriole Park at Camden Yards, which was built in 1993, or it opened in 1993 in Baltimore. That was way more accessible than the new Yankee Stadium, which was opened in 2009 or 2010. No, I think it was 2009. Either way, the problem is that they took away all of this aura and all of this awe-inspired nature of being the house that Ruth built, the stadium that was built for Babe Ruth. And they got rid of that, and you thought, okay, well maybe they'll try to pull some of the aura over, but also give us new accommodations. And there are fancy bars for, you know, season ticket holders and people who are in the luxury boxes, but for average everyday fans, I just feel like it's missing a lot, and there are a lot of other better ballparks throughout the country. Now, what I will say about this trip to New York is people from New York get a bad reputation. We started waiting in line outside Yankee Stadium at 2:30 in the afternoon so we could get in and get the Billy Joel bobbleheads. And it was just so much fun interacting with people, and everybody was super welcoming. There was a point where I wanted to get the video where I wanted to go across the street to the location of the old Yankee Stadium and do some filming, and I didn't want people thinking I was butting in line, so I went to ask everybody behind me if it would be okay if I went and did that, and they were happier that I wanted to experience Yankees history than they were upset about anything like me getting out of line and getting back into line. So I think that was really telling. People in New York get a bad rap, but I have had much better experience with people being polite in cities like New York, Philadelphia, Boston, cities that have bad reputations for politeness, than I ever have in the South. So it was really interesting having that experience. I loved going to St. Patrick's Cathedral. I've been there a few times, but all of the history that occurred there, from Senator Robert Kennedy's funeral, where his brother, Senator Ted Kennedy, gave that amazing speech. I actually, behind me, have a plaque. He quotes, or at least paraphrases, George Bernard Shaw, and behind me I have that quote on my bookshelf here. You see things and you say why, but I dream things that never were, and I say why not. I got this plaque with that quote on it my very last day in Dublin in 2022. It was the very last thing I purchased. It was in the bookstore for Trinity College Dublin, and I bought that and immediately got into a taxi that drove me to the airport. So it was the last thing that I did in Dublin, but when I saw it and I knew the significance, I had to pick up that quote. And then it was the place where they had the funeral for Babe Ruth, and I think that it's just incredible when you think about Babe Ruth and all that he represents. I don't think he actually gets enough credit when you talk about the modern athlete, when you talk about people like, you know, through Muhammad Ali, and then to Michael Jordan, and then LeBron James, obviously now Shohei Ohtani, Caitlin Clark. Like, none of that stuff would be possible if it wasn't for Babe Ruth. And every time I'm somewhere and I can think, like, you know, Babe Ruth hit a home run standing in that batter's box or something like that, it's just really, really impressive to me. So anyway, I appreciate you putting up with a different ending to this video. After we left the stadium, we quickly rushed in a cab to get back to the hotel, get in our car, and try to get out of the Bronx before the game ended. And then once we got onto the Jersey Turnpike, there was construction on the Jersey Turnpike, so what we were expecting to be, you know, a late Friday night, early Saturday morning on the Jersey Turnpike turned out to be very, very crowded. So I didn't really feel it was appropriate to try to keep creating content, and we just wanted to get home and, you know, get a shower and go to bed. So that is what happened. Do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll talk to you soon.